Anthony Slater here with Darnell Mayberry at the Thunder Integris Health Center for second day of Thunder Camp. First day we've got to talk to Anthony Morrow post-practice, the newest member of the Thunder. He seems impressed with this organization, the defensive philosophy, just everything that's going in. What did you kind of think of him day one, talking to him?
You know, he seems like a really mature guy. He seems like he's thankful for the opportunity, and he seems like he's going to be a good fit. You know, we can't wait to see him on the court to see how that all actually translates into whether or not he's going to be able to make shots. I don't think there's a question how good of a shooter he is, but you know, when he put him next to Russell Westbrook, put him next to Kevin Durant, how effective can he be for this team? And I think that's what we're all waiting to see.
Spot shooting certainly his thing. It's where he's going to fit well on this team, like you mentioned, next to the two stars. But Scott Brooks talked a little bit today about him maybe pin downs, maybe even running some plays for him. Do you see him as a guy, J.J. Redick type, that maybe they can use him in little spurts of the game, coming off screens, different things?
I think you'd have to see sort of a change in the Thunder's philosophy for that to happen. I mean, we all know that this team offensively is run through Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, high ball screens, putting the ball in their hands and letting them make plays. I can't really see at this point other players making plays to the point you're speaking of. But if they can drive and kick, get him open shots from the corner, that's where Scott Brooks talked that they really want him to be able to have opportunities, because that's one of the spots on the floor he's really effective. I could see that a lot, but I don't see them putting the ball in his hands and asking him to make plays.
Another topic that was discussed today, what you're writing about tomorrow, Kendrick Perkins has been real open about this team needing to sacrifice more, be more like the Spurs. He keeps using the Spurs and even the Heat the last few years as examples. You talked to Scott Brooks about it. Just what are you writing about tomorrow? Just kind of give us an update on that.
Yeah, you know, Perk said one thing at media day that I think kind of got lost in the shuffle of Steven Adams' mustache probably. But, you know, I just think what he said about Serge Ibaka specifically, you know, wanting to be an all-star, and it's hard to ask guys to want to sacrifice before the All-Star break, because they're going after those numbers. They're going after those postseason awards. That's something that I think is very real with this team. Derek Fisher talked about it late in the season last year. Serge Ibaka talked about it after coming back from that calf injury in the West Finals. Scott Brooks even talked about it at his exit interview last year and again today when we brought it up. So I think it's a very real issue with this team. You're starting to see guys try to get out of that mold a little bit, but you know, there's still some guys. Reggie Jackson's playing for a contract, and maybe a starting position. Serge Ibaka wants to be an all-star, maybe the defensive player of the year. So there are some things that guys really have to set aside and focus on the greater good, and I think that's really the story. It's going to be a theme throughout this season as the season goes along.
Let's hear Scott Brooks and Anthony Morrow talk about these topics today after practice.
I think that's an area that you never get satisfied. I think when you relax and let your guard down, individuality starts taking place. It's something that we've never focused on here. But on the other side, we're always looking to stay into the team, and you have to sacrifice every day. You can't be a guy that only sacrifice on, you know, odd days. You got to sacrifice every day of the week and really focus on bringing your best for the team every time on the court.
I think the only other team maybe I've been on was Dallas. That kind of had that, but their core had been kind of shaken up since they won that championship. But it's similar. It's a lot more guys. The staff's been here as long as the players, you know. So that's something you don't see top to bottom over the years. You could definitely tell why they've been successful so long. I'm just like a sponge at this point, just learning everything I can and just soaking it all in.
A lot of 2 days still to be practice for this team over the next few days, but next Wednesday is when, you know, Thunder fans look at their first on-court look at this team in Denver, preseason opener. What are you looking forward to most? Personally, I want to see Mitch McGary, and you probably do too.
I thought you'd want to see Steven Adams.
Well, yeah, I'd want to see that. I wish he kept the mustache, though, right?
Yeah, I think those are two intriguing players. I think what Scott Brooks does with the starting lineup is going to be interesting. Who's going to start at shooting guard? Who's going to start at center? And just because they start the first preseason game doesn't necessarily mean that'll be who will start opening night. So a lot of things can change in the preseason, but certainly who he throws out there for the first time is probably going to be sort of an indication of which way he's leaning, and I think that's one of the things I'm most curious to see.
No doubt that'll do it for us here at day 2 of the Thunder training camp, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.